I'm Patrick Kuo. I'm the VP of Innovation here at Diaconia. I'm really excited about looking at the over-the-horizon tech and bringing the best of breed to the government, best in class capabilities, and the use of the bleeding edge, and bringing that to a space that's traditionally somewhat slower in adoption.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Chu. I'm the VP of Solutions Engineering here at Diaconia. I am obsessed with customer success. So as a technologist, I love to strategize with my customers in terms of how technology acts as an enabler to ensure their mission success. So what I typically like to do in starting programs and projects with them is to define what success looks like at the end of month 3, month 6, month 9, and so on, so that at the end of those projects, we can look back and track along the way whether we have been successful.
I'm Tom Simaniwan. I am the Vice President of Capture and Strategic Partnerships. What I'm most passionate about is the human element in everything that we do. I pride myself in making sure that the human is always there in terms of our customers, getting them the right mission capabilities in order to do the things that they need to do on a daily basis the most efficiently and effectively.
Well, Pat and I were both principals at Booz Allen Hamilton and have a similar track in terms of having technical backgrounds and eventually moving from hands-on keyboard type of work to more mission strategy and fulfilling our clients' missions through the enabler of technology. So we didn't run into each other over at Booz Allen, unfortunately, but it was a large company.
Yeah, we only had 1 degree of separation.
That's right.
But it's, I think, similar roles, right? Like we were working growth, working enablement of the market teams and our customers with technology tools. I was focused on AI and bringing that to, all the facets of existing delivery, as well as looking at how to best integrate it into the new capabilities that the government wanted.
Interestingly enough, when I made the career change from commercial consulting to government sector, I ended up working at a company where Patrick was already at. And so, I was on the delivery side, learning about the industry, implementing at the time, a legacy system and one of the first applications at this agency to go into the cloud. So, and that was with that company where Patrick and I were at. And, Patrick was a big part of us working with the customer to figure out, at which cloud, Azure, AWS, and how do we get there? What is that tech roadmap? And we were able to help the customer get that through. And it was a big win for such a very small program and set of applications to be the very first. To this day, we still both talk to that same customer.
Yeah, that's right. We know where he likes to eat lunch in Georgetown.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interesting thing about that time period too, that was about 10 years ago, was that, one of our customers had a number of component agencies. And if you asked them about cloud, you got, 10 people in the room, you got 12 different definitions of what cloud looked like. And I think that sort of paradigm still holds true today, right? Where if you ask them about technology X, right, anything that's sort of more forward-leaning, right, is confusing enough and new enough that there are, different ways to think about how they might perceive the technology, how it might be used in their mission. So I think the interesting thing about our roles here is that we're now kind of helping them understand how to best use these technologies, how to best implement them, and how to integrate them, right? More importantly, how do they become impactful in their mission?
That's exactly right. The right capabilities in the hands of the users that need it the most. And a lot of the mission sets that we focus on are, in national security or defense, where it is with the folks in the field that need to do their jobs most efficiently, or else things happen that are gravely impacting their lives and others in the community.
Yeah, and with the advent of AI, we're in another period of time where the opportunities and the ability to use these technologies and tools are very exciting in terms of multipliers and accelerating the folks' ability to achieve the mission through these technologies. But on the flip side, where you take a look at cloud, the internet back 20 years ago, there were a few different choices, but I think it's multiplied in terms of the noise, how many products are out there, which one works best for our mission. And so helping our customers travel through that journey and helping them select the right tool sets, and also considering the human factor, making sure their workforce is ready to utilize these tool sets and train them properly, make sure that change management is implemented, because those two things go hand in hand, right?
Yeah, I think that's an important point, right? Like, there are always, leaders in any product space, but the use of the technology and the integration of it into the mission is actually the hardest part, right? And I think arguably more important than actually selecting the product, right? Because the products generally, kind of do similar things, but how you use them and how they're integrated into, your mission activities, oftentimes is the differentiator between success, and failure, right? There are great products that fail all the time.
Yeah, and a huge factor in that implementation and integration is the data. You cannot forget about the data that's been collected over the past 2 decades. So a lot of these large language models have been trained on publicly available data, but how do you turn that on your internal data, which can sometimes be messy? So you need the right level of discipline, governance, as well as high levels of quality that you want to, provide across your data. And some of our clients' data isn't the cleanest, right? So I think that's where really the bridge between Silicon Valley and some of their capabilities and the content that has been generated, whether it's through submissions or internally generated data, that those two things have to be married. And that's, I think, is the sweet spot in terms of where you're going to get the best value from these technologies.
Definitely keep the human in the loop, because you have to validate the data that's going into feeding your large language models for the output that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. And you want to take advantage of decades of experience from your workers that understand this data. So they need to be key parts of any kind of cleansing, governance, and use of this data, because they understand it best.
So I think the government, right, is at an inflection point, right, with the rate of change in technology. It hasn't slowed down, and in fact, I think it's kind of gone exponential, right, with AI and quantum on the horizon. And so if you think about how the government needs to respond to not only the threats, but the use cases that really make their mission faster, better, and cheaper, being at Diaconia really creates this ability to pivot quickly, for us to be really agile. We don't have barriers that slow us down. And I think that's really exciting, because the impact that we can have can be measured, in days and weeks as opposed to months and years. And when you start looking at the implementation of technologies, right, like the aspect of getting them on the ground, right, Tom, to your point about getting them in the hands of the users that they help the most, I think we're perfectly positioned for that.
Absolutely. I mean, here at Diaconia, we have no bureaucracy, right? Decisions can be made really quickly, and we have all the tools at hand, tools including people and the products. Anything that we need to do to build demonstrations or prototypes for our clients so that they can see it real life, can be done here in our lab. We have all the experts in the world, AI, ML, technologization, that can do that for our customers.
And also the talent that we have on board really excites me in terms of some of the important fraud detection work that we've done for some of our customers, and building upon those capabilities and finding parallel use cases where we can really be impactful. But yeah, that's one of the first things that I noticed in terms of choosing my next landing spot. And happy to be here at Diaconia because of the quality of the leadership and our CEO's commitment to meeting our client's mission through this level of agility and flexibility that we employ.
I couldn't agree more with that.
Mm-hmm.
In the interview process, us all collectively talked with each other, talking about, the ethos of the company, right? Diaconia itself is to do good, right? And that's one of the reasons why I came here for sure is, it's not just coming in to introduce innovation for mission delivery, but it's also to do the right thing for our customers so that they can complete their mission effectively.
Yeah, and Diaconia, just to piggyback off of what you said, is, in the service of others, right, for the good. And so we're very passionate about public's mission, whether it's DEA's mission to, help alleviate some of the opioid deaths that we have in this country. And so if we can contribute in some small way to saving one life, that's worth a lifetime's worth of work.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm particularly excited about the leadership that's shown across the firm, right? Like it's not just leadership team, but also the people that are executing on the mission space. The aspects of service and delivery of excellence to our customer space is incredible. And really excited about the breadth of experience that we have. I think to your point, right, like around all the different mission sets, the different technologies and how to best implement them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the collective knowledge that we have puts us in a position where we're hitting far above our weight.
And fun. Working with fun people. That's meaningful, right?
Yeah, it's it's my week and a half into this company, and I can really tell that we've built a culture and a family atmosphere where everybody works hard, plays hard, but laser focus on our client's mission. So I've heard so many stories just week and a half in about, people dedicating nights and weekends and making sure that the next release really meets the mission needs for our customers. Very impressed. To make sure that our staff, constantly feel the level of support that they need to grow their careers professionally and make sure they're integrated into our culture. Well, one of my big beliefs is that mentorship works. You need to provide a level of guidance as well as pathways for people to grow in their careers, whether it's learning new technologies or being involved in other aspects of meeting clients' mission. So, our leadership team here at Diaconia is fully committed to that effort and making sure that each and every one of our team members feel valued and has an opportunity to grow and sees that path. And it's very clear to them the steps that they need to do that.
Yeah, and I think culturally also, right, like there's the idea of servant leadership, right? Like everyone here is committed to rolling up the sleeves and getting the work done. But I think to your point, right, around mentorship and bringing people along, right? Like we only succeed when we all succeed. And so bringing the team members along, teaching them new skills, teaching them giving them new experiences is important. And doing is, I think, sometimes the best way to kind of learn it, right, from somebody is partnering up with them and being able to kind of sit next to them shoulder to shoulder, and working through the things that we're going to go through over the next X number of years. And then I think also selecting the right work, right, making sure that it's impactful mission work, making sure that it's things that are improving the state of the nation in terms of how the government operates and how they execute their mission. These are all things that I think attract the right talent to the firm. Mm-hmm. I think it brings, this culture of giving and service to, the entire company.
And as a business, to help us tactically accomplish all those things, the processes that we have in place here, as a small business that is scaling rapidly, right? It's focused on being agile, making decisions at the right levels at the right time. And when you're introducing new things to new staff members for their career development, that we are cognizant of coaching and mentoring and getting them through those processes to learn more, to expand their career. That is one thing that, Jonathan, you've been here for a week and a half, Patrick, you as well. We've talked about at just about every single meeting, right? When we're going to take on this effort, we're going to take on this particular initiative. These are the skill sets that we have. Who's going to fill in what role? And then who else are we going to bring up along the way in order for them to succeed and grow with us as we scale?